Mr. Philander had been admitted to Howard and had been good students, so that we could go to Howard. So the two of us in the class of 45 went to Howard in the fall of 45. Arkansas paid our tuition because it was a custom at that day as a result of a constitutional requirement that if Arkansas, a state offered a class course, professional training for white people for a career, they would pay the tuition for black students. If they could get admitted to a school in some other state, they would pay the tuition. So Arkansas paid my tuition. But in the fall of 45, I was in first year at Howard, and I was reading the newspapers, and I learned later about the effort of Sweat in Texas and a lady named Sipperwell in Oklahoma, and I've forgotten the name of the person in Louisiana that was trying to get in law schools in those states and are being denied. And in Oklahoma and Texas, there was litigation going on. So I applied to the University of Arkansas. Of course, the dean advised me that they didn't admit blacks to the law school at the University of Arkansas. At any rate, I continued and finished my first year at law school, but I carried on correspondence with the dean at the University of Arkansas. And I got the information from him that they were going to make some arrangements for my admission. Okay. In the school year 46-7, I went to Atlanta University graduate school studying economics, but I continued my correspondence with the dean. The fall of 47, I went back to Howard for my second year. And of course, we still carried on the correspondence with the dean at the University of Arkansas. And he informed me that they were working on trying to work out the plans for my admission. Okay. October or November somewhere in the year 47, I got a letter from the dean saying that they were making arrangements to admit me in January of 48, the second semester. But he wanted me to pay tuition in advance because he didn't want to have to go through all this arrangement for my attendance if I were not coming. So he wanted me to pay tuition in advance. I took my file for the first time and carried it to the dean at Howard Law School, and we reviewed all of the correspondence and what have you in my thinking and my correspondence, and he dictated a letter for me to respond, which succinctly said we had read the catalog from the University of Arkansas, and they didn't require anybody else to pay tuition in advance, and I declined to pay tuition in advance. And I signed and mailed that letter. I heard nothing else. So in January of 1948, I was in my second semester of my second year at Howard. And when I got home that evening, I had a call from my sister in Little Rock and a call from a local newspaper, the Washington Post. I called my sister, and she informed me that they'd had a press conference at the University of Arkansas and announced that if I showed up, I would be admitted to the law school. That was that evening. I called the press reporter there in Washington, and he gave me a brief summary of the press conference and wanted to come out for an interview. So I arranged for him to come out for an interview, and he gave me
Can you hold for a minute?